Hi there, my name is Randy Phillips. I own a Stinson 108-1, and it has a 150 horse Franklin engine in it, and an Imperial brass fuel primer. The fuel primer, since I bought the plane, I've always got a little tiny bit of fuel on my hand when I used it, and just recently it started really giving me some fuel on my hand, so I thought it's time to do something about it. As I looked into it, the Imperial brass fuel primer, which this is the basic unit right here, it's disassembled right now. Here's the actual rest of it, but they have not been made for quite a number of years now. Any replacement parts are unavailable, and inside of it, where the problem really starts, is that the seals on it are leather. They are a small piece of leather. Here's one of the original ones. I've got it on a piece of safety wire so I don't lose it. But it's a leather cup. It looks, if you want to describe it to somebody, it kind of looks like a paint can cap, but in miniature. That fits over the shaft. It's two of those. It's held in place. Here's one that I have made already, but it's held in place by some nuts and washers and things. And so this video is going to show you how I made those. So I started off quite a few failed attempts, actually. I got some pieces that turned out pretty good, but after I put them in put it all together and put it in the plane, they were still leaking. I tried some pieces made out of some old glove material. There's sealant, waterproofing, and things like that on those, and dye and everything. It just didn't work out very good. Went to a local boot and shoe repair place and got some leather, and this is about 1/16 of an inch thick leather. It's untreated. It's just leather. It's just hide. That is what's worked best. I also tried some thinner stuff that was some calf skin. That was just too thin. It just didn't work right. Dimensions on this: outer diameter, best I can measure, is 9/16, and inner diameter is 7/16. So what I did, the first time I took just a piece of 2x4, I did several off of that. The pine 2x4, the pine works okay, but it does tend to compress a little bit, so the dimensions weren't quite right. I went back and got a piece of hardwood and cut a hole in there, and I didn't have a 9/16 drill. Biggest standard drill that I could get was a 1/2 inch. I could get a 9/16 drill bit that would make me a nice clean hole, but it was like $20 for the bit, and I didn't feel like spending that. So I took and drilled a 1/2 inch, which is what I had, and then took a Dremel tool, just with a little grinder bit on it, just a little bit by little bit, went around it and cleaned that out and got it to where I was the diameter I wanted. Smoothed off the edges on it just a little bit. For the inner diameter, went and got it, and that's, by the way, that's hickory. That's I actually have a wood furnace at my house, and I had a piece of hickory out there, and I cut it down to basically to a 2x2 size. This is an oak dowel I got from Home Depot, $2. It's a 1/2 inch, but I needed 7/16. So again, I cut off a piece and just used the Dremel tool and went around it a little bit. You can see it's down in size there. So when you fit those together, you get basically the shape you need. I over drilled the depth of the hole as well, just to help me out with that. So what I've done is I've cut out some leather, and those are about a 2-inch circumference hole, or 2-inch diameter hole. Soak it in water. So it's just a plain old piece of leather. I'm just going to lay that on there. Take that dowel bit, find my placement, and it gets pushed in. Now I went out and used a vise in my machine shed to push it in, and here's some footage of that happening. And I usually let it set for a few minutes there, just kind of get itself seated. What I've found over making probably 7 or 8 of these is there's no substitute for time and pressure on this. I made several that I put in and tried to use like a blow dryer to cool or to dry out the leather and stuff. It worked, but it didn't work as good as just letting it set and letting the leather shape itself via the pressure of the dowel in the hole, pressing against the leather, and time just letting it dry out and form it to its own shape. I've tried using a hammer to put it in. It works, but I'm just afraid. One of my early attempts pushed right on through the leather. So I've decided to use a vise to gently push it in slowly. On this dowel here, I also smoothed the edges on that around the very edge, just barely smoothed them out and stuff. So that helps quite a bit. When you go to take apart your leather pieces off this shaft, be real sure you know what order they went in. I actually took a video of it coming apart. There are small pins. There's a pin that is looks like stainless steel, and it was peened on both sides. So we actually had to very, very carefully drill that out on one side to get it out of there, and then use a push pin to push it on out. The other one looks like a piece of brass wire of some sort, and it holds on the lower section. And those holes in there, you can kind of see that hole. I hope. There's one. There's another one over here that's even smaller. That's for the brass one. That tends to get gummed up with leather as it's being put together and stuff. So before you get ready to put everything in there, make sure it's all good and clean. The other thing, fuel lube. And this is fuel-resistant Turn lubricant, high-temp multi-purpose. It was $9 for this tube, and this is more than I'll ever use in my lifetime with this system. It's fuel-proof lubrication. You're supposed to use it to inside there to keep those conditioned. I had several people tell me that I should go ahead and just take apart what I had, recondition it with that fuel lube, and put it back together. When I took it apart, the original pieces were starting to come apart because they were 69 years old. As far as I can't find any records in the logbooks of any work being done since then, since it was originally built. So it was time for it to get some new pieces in there. So I've got some footage I shot previously of the assembly and disassembly. I'll go ahead and run that now and put some narration with it possibly, or just some stuff on the screen to tell you what's going on and everything. So here you go. Cut around the top here. Probably give myself just a little bit extra, but I'm going to very gently kind of start cutting around the top there. Cut into the leather. Going ahead and cutting around here. Trying to be as careful as I can to preserve the shape. Anyway, there we go. It's ready to go. I'm going to punch a hole in the bottom of it here using the X-Acto knife. I'll find the center and just start twirling around until it goes through, and then basically I'm just kind of reaming it out. Okay, so I reamed it out just a little bit more there. That should be enough for the threads to get a start through it there and screw itself down. I went ahead and put the little cupped washer on here first, as you can see. And we'll go ahead and thread this in there to screw it down. Yep, that's going in good. Okay, so I got the hole reamed out enough that I got it kind of screwed down on there. You can see there's that little cupped washer right there. And we'll go ahead and screw that down the rest of the way. Then we have a small washer. A very small washer goes in there, right down inside of that. Then the spring fits into that. And then this cap fits on like that down in there. We'll tighten that down good. And we'll go through and get these all finalized down real good and tight with everything. But that's the basis of it there. Then the needle, get that out of here. Goes up on top of that, right there, and that is a completed, refurbished, reconditioned Chicago Imperial brass from Chicago primer pump with leather seals. And now those aren't perfect on there. I can see that right now. They're not exactly the way they should be, but they're close enough that they're going to work and they're going to last for quite a while. I'm going to take this apart and rework all the pieces here so that they're good and tight and everything's where it's supposed to be. I just kind of put together quick here to show you. But that's the basics of it. So, and like I said, make sure and as you take this apart, you take a video of it. Use your iPhone, take a video of it. Have somebody hold the iPhone and watch you take it apart piece by piece by piece. I had to go back and watch the video of us taking it apart just to remember for sure how all the pieces went back together, because it's, unless you got a really good memory, which at this point in my life it's starting to slip a little bit, it can get confusing and you can forget which one goes where. So make sure and get a video, get pictures, write things down, do anything you have to do to make sure you understand how this goes back together. And once it all pieces back together, we'll put it in the plane and start it up and see how things run on the ground, do a good run up and take it around the patch, stay close to the airport, and if everything seems to be running good, we'll go on from there. So anyway, that's the basics of the video of how to create a leather seal for an Imperial brass primer pump. Thanks.